external trade account. Changes in the external value of the currency is primarily a reflection of what we as Ghanaians produce here and what we want others abroad to give us as products in exchange for what we export to them. And when there is a gap, then we have a problem, how to finance it. Over the years, the gap between our imports of goods and services and our exports has been wide and threatens to worsen. In 1960, exports of goods and services stood at 28% of GDP and at 35% in 2017. Imports of goods and services over the same period amounted to 35.5% of GDP and 38.4% respectively. So you see there's a gap in what we import and what we export. The trend is not unnatural, and it's expected of a developing country like Ghana, as we import equipment and machinery to build our infrastructure and the factories and raw materials to produce for consumption. It means we need to attract foreigners with a stable, predictable, and sustainable macroeconomic environment to encourage them to lend us the additional resources that we need to bridge the resulting foreign exchange gap. So the issues we need to focus on is embedded in the import-export imbalance. It's a structure of our economy. It's commodity-based and import-dependent. Our commodities of cocoa, gold, and oil are susceptible to wide fluctuations that give external shocks to our economy. For example, as long as I've lived, cocoa prices have always been $1,500 to about $3,500 per ton. In the 1960s, 70s, when I was a young man, I buy my car, Golf, 2,000 cedis, dollars, beg your pardon. Now, it's about $28,000, $30,000. Manufactured goods prices go up. Ours do not, they say. And most of our historical crises have been because our commodities goods, gold, cocoa, prices go down. 1960, by the time of the coup, that was the main problem. Prices have dropped. And the 2007, we were getting into oil, prices dropped, and that causes financial difficulties for us. So the restructuring of our economy is important. If we don't restructure our economy, then the problems of the 1960s, 1980s, when cocoa prices dropped, 2007 will be there. But these can be managed. We've talked about counter-cyclical budgeting. So if cocoa is your main export, you take an average price, so I'm going to assume that $2,000 per ton. So when years come and it's $3,500, you take $1,500 and put it aside. So that when the time comes and it goes to maybe less than $1,000, you bring what you put aside to do that, which means physical discipline. You need discipline to do counter-cyclical budgeting. And we have been talking economic transformation for years. I keep telling the young people who are very agitated that, Mr. Pianim, your generation didn't help us, could have transformed the economy. No, we couldn't. When Nkrumah started, I didn't have the engineers to do it. And I tell them, my generation, we've done very well. Say how? I produce you. The young people here, you are now educated, smarter than me. You can negotiate contracts better if you are not vitiated by fraud and greed. We have the engineers. They can do better. So let us see that the time has arrived for us to put all our resources now to transform the economy. You can't transform the economy if you don't have the infrastructure.